Here's integrated 3. It's problem CL-115b. It says identify the points of intersection of each pair of functions. You only have one function. The other function was y equals 2. Okay, so the points of intersection. So that would be like, this looks like it's probably a parabola. And that looks like it's going to be a horizontal line at y equals 2. So it wants ordered pairs for the points of intersection. So I know that I can use equal values method to get the points of intersection, because I know that this graph and this graph, the only place they're going to be equal is where they're touching each other, where they intersect. So I'm just going to set them equal to each other. So I'm going to do like this, 2 equals, see, this one is equal to this one. 2 equals x squared minus 3x minus 8. And then I'm going to try to solve it. So I'm going to solve it for x. I see it looks like a quadratic. And so I want to just get it in standard form. Have it set equal to 0, so maybe I can use the zero product property on it. Okay, so now I have a quadratic. I could try to factor it. I'm hoping it'll factor, and then I can use the zero product property. Like it'll factor, you know, x times x plus something times x minus something, or whatever it's going to be. And so whenever I try to solve these, I use what we call a diamond problem. So I look at the number in front of x squared, like the coefficient of x squared, and I multiply it by the constant. So 1 times negative 10 makes negative 10. And I write that down on the top of my diamond. And I write an M for multiply and an add for add, and it spells mad. I want my numbers, I'm going to look for two numbers that multiply to make negative 10, and I want them to add to make the negative 3, which is the coefficient of x. So I just ask myself, what numbers are there that multiply to make 10? 10 times 1, but I think 5 times 2 is I'm going to have a better chance at making them add to negative 3, especially if I make the 5 negative. Now I have a negative times a positive is negative, and these if I add them together. So I know, because I've done a billion of these problems, I know that since there's no coefficient, or the only coefficient on x squared is just a 1, I can actually just put these in here, and I'm done factoring. But some of you have been taught that you always have to put them in this area model box, and that is a good habit of yours if that's your habit. And so I'll go ahead and do it, and that'll prove that this is correct. So I take these numbers. See, I put this constant upper right, put the x squared lower left, and I put these two numbers that I found from my diamond problem. It doesn't matter which way I put them. And then now I know it's an area model because length times width equals area. So x times x is x squared. X times something equals negative 5x. Well, I know that's going to be negative 5. X times something equals 2x. Well, that's going to be 2. And then I can check it by seeing if negative 5 times 2 actually do make 10, and it does. And so that's, you can see that if I were going to multiply these back out again, wouldn't I just put them back in a little area model and it would work out? So now that I've factored it, I'm going to use the zero product property, because if I have something multiplied by something else and the answer is 0, either the first something must equal 0, or the second something equals 0, or they both equal 0. So we can just set them both equal to 0. And solve them. Most of the time I will actually just solve this in my head. I'll just say, well, 5, if I put a 5 there, that'd make 0. It's 5 and negative 2 are my answers, but I'm just showing how you would solve it. Here's my two answers for x. So what this means is that there's going to be two places where these two functions cross or intersect. So I have the x values, I just need the y values. I know that because this is a horizontal line and it just goes, it doesn't have a slope, or it has a zero slope. I know that the y values automatically are just going to be 2 just by looking at it. But if you didn't know that, you would go ahead and to get your 2 answers, you would plug in, just like you would in any other problem, you would plug in x to find y. So plug x in, so that would be 5. 5 squared is 25, minus 3 times 5 is 15, minus 8. I could add that up in my head, but I have a calculator right here. 25. I got 2. Well, of course I got 2. I knew it was 2 already. That's one of my answers. And my other answer, we know the answer is going to be 2, but we can check it by plugging the negative 2 in. Negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6, minus 8. Well, if I add those together, that's 10 minus 8, that's 2. So that is how you do CL-115, letter B.